Okay, great. So, hi, everybody, and welcome to our introduction to Brightspace session. For those of you who don't know me, I am Tammy Couples, Executive Director of Online Learning and Academic Technologies. We are happy to be joined today by Robert Piorkowski, Assistant Director of SUNY Online. SUNY, by the way, is very much our partner in the migration from Blackboard to Brightspace. They have hosted our learning management system for a long time. They run the help desk, which is available 7 days per week, and they are helping us manage all the technical aspects of the move over to Brightspace. And Rob has been training FIT faculty for, I want to say, at least 10 years, could be more. Yeah. He has focused mainly on our online instructors. So if you are a certified online instructor here at FIT, you probably know Rob already, but he has a lot of experience teaching Brightspace across SUNY. So we're thankful he can join us today. And before I turn it over to Rob, as we had mentioned earlier, if you heard it, I just want to request that we hold questions until the question period that Rob puts in, I guess, at the end of different topics, just so we can make sure that Rob is able to hit all points, and then he'll pause for questions. So thank you. I'll turn it over to you, Rob.
Thanks, Tammy. And, just by way of introduction, like Tammy said, I've been training at FIT for more than 10 years. I don't know exactly how many years it is, but we used to travel down there. And down there, when I say down there, I mean from Albany, New York. That's where I'm from. And today we're going to look at really just the technical aspects of Brightspace. My mission today is to make you feel comfortable with the interface. So normally I would teach a lot. I would talk a lot about online pedagogy, and I do try to couch everything in a teaching context. So I'll do that as we go along. I understand we have a mixed crowd today in terms of face-to-face teaching, hybrid teaching, and fully online teaching. So again, what I'm going to try to show you today is all of the where to click in Brightspace, and where to find things, and how to create things mainly. Because what I have prepared for you, and I'll share my screen with you now, is I have an almost empty shell here. Well, let me finish my introduction. As Tammy said, I've been an instructional designer with SUNY for a very long time. This is my 4th migration. And I'm also a retired online instructor. So I really, I have, just sort of like a very hands-on knowledge of the online teaching process. And before that, I was a face-to-face teacher at a high school. I started my career all the way back in New York City, teaching in Hollis, Queens, middle school English. And so I'm from Long Island originally. And so, okay, so today we're going to, take a look at the new learning management system, Brightspace. We call it an LMS. If you're coming from Blackboard, so if you have some experience in Blackboard, I'm going to use that as a sort of a launch point when I start talking about some of the features. So so you can connect the dots a little more easily with what you already know. Learning a new learning management system, I like the metaphor that I like to use is like cooking Thanksgiving dinner in someone else's kitchen. You know how to cook the dinner. You have all the ingredients, you have the skills, you just don't know where everything is. So you got to start opening drawers and looking for utensils, pots and pans and stuff like that. That's kind of what it's like with a new learning management system. Now, of course, we're going to have students come in, so we want to present things as best we can. But just like in Blackboard, we can create something, we can see what it's going to look like for students, and we'll put our best foot forward. We can hide things if they're not exactly ready for prime time, and we can do basically everything we could do in Blackboard, we can now do in Brightspace. So let's take a look at this screen that I'm in right now. This is an FIT training course, an empty shell that I've created. And we're already in a course. Let me just back out for 1 second. And the way I back out, and so I will be sort of clicking along here. And I will encourage you, if I go too fast, okay, if I start clicking on things and you don't know what I clicked on, or you looked away, or the cat knocked something over and you were distracted for a second, feel free to just let me know. Activate your mic, or raise your hand, or something like that, and I'm happy to reteach whatever's needed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here. This is, as some of you may have seen, I clicked in the link all the way on the left. I was in a course, and now I am in what we call the campus homepage. My campus is currently the SUNY Center for Professional Development. And so when you finally log into Brightspace and you get your username and password and you're ready to log in, you will also land on a campus homepage for Brightspace. So that's where I landed right now. And essentially, in the first part of today's training, we're going to sort of work our way into getting into a course and then look at some of those course features. This afternoon, and then we're going to create some folders, what you call units, um, and we're going to create a few items inside of those units. If you come this afternoon, there's another session where we're going to dig into gradable activities, whereby I'm going to demonstrate for you how to create assignments, discussions, and quizzes. Quizzes, tests, exams, they're all the same in Brightspace parlance. But here we're on the campus homepage. And so let's take a look at the homepage. You'll probably hear me say, I said it before the session started, Brightspace is fairly transparent in that there aren't too many mysteries in terms of where links go or what they do. And I'll try to point that out as we move along. So the first part of the tour is going to be what's called the main navigation bar. And this bar remains sticky, meaning that it stays at all times, no matter what course I'm in. And so I'm running my cursor along the main navigation bar up here. So let's go through what some of these links do. These first two links bring me back to this home page. So I'm not going to click on those because they're just going to bring me back to this campus home page. And you can see it's reloading now. And then over here, these are basically two branding pieces here. It gets more Brightspace centric when we get to this course selector. So this affectionately called the waffle. And what this is essentially single-click access to all of my courses. So as you can see here through the course selector, I have access to 6 different courses. If I were to click on any of these, they would bring me right into the course. And I will be clicking on these when we go into the course that I've prepared for you today. Over here is next to the course selector is my messages. Okay, so just like in Blackboard, Brightspace has basically 2 means of communication internal to Brightspace. So that means that once you log in, you have access to Brightspace email, and you have access to Brightspace instant messaging. So do your students. Your students will see the same thing along this main navigation bar here. And So I need to talk a little bit about these two functions here. And again, two functions being email, Brightspace email, and Brightspace instant messaging. So if I click on this letter icon right here, I can see, okay, I can go either into instant messages or email. So instant messaging is a lot like you would expect. Um, when you're online, students, and you can adjust as to whether you're going to appear online or not. Students can instant message with you. Now, you may want to use these tools or not want to use these tools. Many faculty tend to stick with their campus-based email to communicate privately with faculty. I'm sorry, to communicate privately with students. So so what I recommend to you is that you choose one and you stick with it. So so this is the instant messaging interface, and as you can see, fairly transparent. There aren't that many things that that are confusing to me. In other words, I'm in my inbox right here. You'll notice a new window popped up when I clicked on the instant messages. I can have a friends list, and again, I make you aware of this because students may use it. So anytime you get any alerts that instant messages have come your way, that means a student was clicking around. Maybe you told the students to do it, maybe you didn't, but students in general like to experiment with interfaces. So they'll click on things and they'll send a message perhaps. But here you have your inbox, your friends list, your class lists. Over here you can see I can have different I'll have different class lists for each and every course that I teach. So I can access any of those instant messages from any course right here. If I click these settings, um, I have a few options just to sort how I want my instant messages to display. And so as an example, on my inbox, I can sort by these. So I'm going to encourage you to explore these features, more than we can today. But in general, you won't break anything, and it's worth getting to know, just how things work and if things come your way. If a student does send you a message, there will be a little red dot next to this envelope icon, so you'll know that right as you come into Brightspace that there's some kind of message waiting for you. Next to the instant messages is the Brightspace email. And what you have to remember about the Brightspace email is it functions very much like the Blackboard email in that it is internal to Brightspace. So in other words, you can't email a student's Google account. Okay, and what you can do is you can set it up so that you can get notifications in your professional email, in your campus-based email, that you have a message waiting for you. But very much like Blackboard, you can only respond to a message within Brightspace. So if you get a Brightspace email, no need to panic. You just need to go into Brightspace and click on the email icon and see where that's coming from. So again, what I recommend is that you use one type of email system, either Brightspace, or I know you guys are a Google campus. You might want to use your campus Google email, and just direct students to that one and only type of private communication. Even if students do message you here, you can see that again, like the instant messaging, the interface is fairly transparent in that those of us who have used email, we're pretty much familiar with these folders over here of what I've sent, my address book, drafts, etc. If I want to compose a message, obviously I'll click compose. I can manage my folders here. And so I've gotten a few emails here. As you can see, this is my inbox. I'm not sure where they came from. But I can filter my messages too by course, which course I teach. And just it's very, sort of easy to use. Um, I have to, reveal I have not gotten that many emails. As you can see, these emails are from April, May, and July of last year. So, um, but again, fairly easy to use. It's mainly knowing that it's there. And if you get an alert, again, you'll see one of these little red dots right above your email, and it won't be a problem. These subscription alerts are in Blackboard. There's a feature, some of you may have used it, maybe not, called subscriptions. And so if you subscribe to a particular assignment, or if students subscribe to a particular assignment, any activity on that assignment will you'll be notified here that someone has completed an assignment, someone has resubmitted an assignment, something like that. But it's only if you subscribe. So once we start creating some content, you'll see that there's a subscribe button on on a lot of the content that we create. Over here is any updates that I have set for. It's not appearing so well. There we go. Any updates that have happened in my course, that I have chosen to be notified about. So there are just over here. Um, let's see, there was a page created in the Heron training course. That's another course for which I'm an instructor. So I have a fellow trainer, Jamie Heron. She has been creating some stuff in her course. So I'm being notified about that. So these are basically notifications, anything that's, things that are happening in my course that I want to be notified about. Again, moving along on this main navigation bar, that's what this is called, the main nav bar. If I click on my name, I'm going to have some choices here. First of all, I can update my profile. So I have a profile picture right here that I can update. I have just some information that I can then put in here. Students also have the same access to, again, what I'm doing is I'm clicking on my name in the top right. And when I click on profile, I get here, and this is where I can put in my personal information that I want students to see, so they know who I am. And students will have the same fields, so they can fill out their information as well. And if you teach a fully online course, I would encourage you to have your students fill this out, maybe as an icebreaker activity or something like that, so that the more we can get to know each other in a classroom setting, the more engaged usually the student is. So but as a faculty member, or as the instructor for this for my courses, I would want to reveal just some whatever I'm comfortable revealing to my students, because the more we can mitigate the distance between us and the students, again, the more students are likely to engage with us. So this is where I would put in my profile info, and under the same link we have notifications. And these notifications, again, all of this main nav bar, students will see the same exact navigation bar. This is not just for me, the instructor. Students will see the same exact thing. So under my name and under my students' names, I have this notification feature here. And this is quite a robust feature in Brightspace. So it's going to take a little bit of explanation. And the very first piece here, I think, is going to be real popular for students. This is where students download the mobile application for Brightspace. And so as an old crusty instructor, this would not be my style. I still teach on a computer, but we know that students are really gonna be attracted to this app, and it's called the Pulse app. And again, it's under the notifications link. I just want to remind you this is where it is. And under if they download the Pulse app, they can essentially access your course on their phones. Okay, and if you download it, you'll have instructor access to your course on your phone or your iPad. And I saw a demonstration on this, very effective and complete as compared to the Blackboard app, the Blackboard mobile app. This enables us to stay on top of communications with students, assignments, and enables us to grade. But of course, it's on a limited screen. So the demonstration I saw was really incredible. But it would not be my cup of tea, because what happens is the interface shrinks down to phone size, and all the links that I'm familiar with on the computer are kind of somewhere else. They're in drop-down screens and drop-down menu items and stuff like that. So, but if you're, if you want to work on your phone, this is a very handy application. If you're on the road or something like that, you travel. You might want to explore this, because you can essentially run your course from a mobile device with this Pulse app. Again, under this notifications link, I can send notifications to my personal email. That's what I have here. And so again, any notifications that I set up, and as I scroll down the screen, I'll show you the ones that you can set up. I can get pinged in my email. So that's really handy. I can do the same thing for my mobile phone. Again, I use my phone to make telephone calls and send texts. So I don't register my mobile device here. When you go into Brightspace, you are notified of essentially all the activity, and so I'm comfortable with just going into Brightspace and not being notified outside of Brightspace. I have this set up just so for demonstration purposes. I do have it set up so that it shows me a summary of activity in my my email. Again, these are all, so I've set, this is where I want to be notified, and then underneath it all is what I want to be notified about. Again, this will send a message to my personal email about any activity that's gone on in my course. But then it gets real interesting down here. And these are, instant notifications. Anything that happens on my activity feed, I'll show you what that is. Any announcements that that come through. And again, just need to underscore, if students tell you, I have trouble keeping up, I have trouble, sticking, paying attention. I'm taking 3 different online courses, or I'm taking a big load this semester. You might want to direct students to this page, because this can be really helpful for students that need to be notified about things going on. So as an example here with the announcements, if there's a new announcement in the course, if the student doesn't log into Brightspace, student will not see announcements. So here, the student can be notified. SMS is the phone app. So a student can be notified either by phone or by email that there's a new announcement in the Brightspace course. Students can also, students and you can be notified about any activity that has taken place on assignments. any content that's been updated, any discussions, any activity in discussions for those of you who use online discussions. So again, I just want to, show you, because I'm kind of deep in here. This is all about notifications. And again, it'll be under your name in the top right. And so again, you and your students can set up these notifications for themselves. You cannot set them up for students. You can only set them up for yourself. Okay, so if you want students to use this feature here, you can direct them to this notifications setting, but they'll have to set it up for themselves. So I encourage you to explore that if that's of interest to you. And so that's all I'm going to go through on the main navigation bar. So let me ask here, are there any questions? And you can feel free to hit your microphone or type in the chat. Are there any questions about this main navigation bar? And if there's a delay, that's fine. I'm just going to save these settings, and I'm going to click on this link over here that brings me right back to the campus homepage. And so just so you understand, this main navigation bar will be the same for all campuses. And so what I'm showing you here will, this will say FIT, this will say something around FIT. But over here, this is where things might be a little different, might be the same. And so this is called this is the main navigation bar. This is called the mini navigation bar here underneath the main navigation bar. Now this one, again, campuses will adjust this as they wish. Under here will be some campus announcements, if any announcements come my way from my campus. These are not my announcements yet. I am not yet in a course. These Brightspace resources, what I will recommend to you are these video tutorials. These video tutorials are very well done, and they are searchable. So if I want to, so again, what I did was I clicked on underneath Brightspace resources, and I'm not sure where this link is going to be for you. And I checked out, I'm checking out the video tutorials here.
We have it the same.
You have it the same.
Yeah, it's on that bar. Yeah.
Okay, super. And so here, what I did was I clicked on the search function here. So if I wanted to look up rubrics, like how to create one, they have video tutorials on essentially all the features of Brightspace. And I really like video tutorials. As you can see, it's 3 minutes long. I can rewind it, I can watch, I can listen, I can come back to it. But they're very well done. Excuse me. If I click on playlists here, I could see that there are some for administrators, for instructors. If your students need, maybe a tutorial in something in Brightspace, there are tutorials for learners here. So I'd highly recommend these tutorials as a resource for you.
And Rob, I should have mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, that everyone, if they want to see how the FIT instance looks right now, they can go, we have a special redirect URL. It's just brightspace.fitnyc.edu, and you can log in with your regular FIT username and password, and you'll see what Rob's talking about with the blue bar and the different features we have. Like we put in a quick link to Ally there for accessibility. That kind
cool.
of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, Tammy, do you have the quick eval bar?
Yes, we
eval?
do. It's the second option on there.
Oh, super. I'm recommending this to all campuses, that they put the quick eval, because this quick eval button is my favorite button. because it is very teacher centric.
Mhm.
And let me show you what it does. So I have, just as a reminder, I'm still on the campus portal page of Brightspace. Okay, so, and again, as a reminder, I have access to all my courses here through the course selector. If I scroll down a little bit, I have access to all my courses through these icons here. Um, the quick eval button is my favorite button in Brightspace because what it does is I haven't even entered a course yet, and if I click this quick eval button, now I have some bogus student work that I've filled up a few courses with. So if you're clicking along with me and you have no activity in Brightspace yet, um, you won't have what you're seeing here. But again, I click the quick eval button, and essentially what I have here is all of the grading that awaits me as an instructor. So for those of you who teach fully online, you know that grading is sort of like the main part of our workflow. As assignments come in, certainly in learning a new learning management system, what's one of our first concerns is, am I going to be able to find everything? Well, what's really nice about this quick eval button is when students submit work into any of my courses, it aggregates all of that grading for me to do on a single screen from all of my courses. So if I teach several sections, um, it just lines up my grading here, and I can go right into my grading process from the quick eval button. And um, I recommend that all of you, when you go to grading, that you use the quick eval button. Now, we're going to see it here on the campus portal page. We're also going to see a quick eval in each course. And so when we hit that quick eval button inside a course, that is going to be course specific. This one on the campus portal page, again, aggregates all of the grading that awaits me as the instructor on a single page. It tells me what course it's coming from, when it was submitted, et cetera, and I can get right to grading. Because again, it's a big part of, for fully online instructors, it comprises at least half of, the workflow when a course is up and running. Okay, so again, that's the quick eval button. The My Home button is just going to bring me right back to the campus portal page. And so that's the main navigation bar up top and the mini navigation bar just below it. Okay, for the campus portal page. Now over here, my courses are represented by these tiles. And so we can see this is a representation of my courses, fairly, easy to, look at and know where to click. So, if I want to go into one particular course, and the course that I have set up for us today is the playground course. And so you can even see I have a little picture of the Brooklyn Bridge that I put in there. And so now I'm inside of a course. And if you could take note, the main navigation bar has not changed. Okay, so that all stays the same. Again, it's what we call sticky, but the mini navigation bar is now course specific. So I'm no longer on the campus portal page. I am inside a course called Rob Piorkowski Playground. I changed the name on the actual banner page right here. But we see we have now different links that are course specific. So let me go through this mini navigation bar. This course home button is just going to bring me back to this page. And this is where, I can start creating things for my students in this course. So, one of my first things that I can create is my announcements. Now, some of you may notice we have announcements here, and this is where they render right here for the students. Now, this is what students will see when they come into my course. So, so if I click announcements, I can create a real quick announcement. Um, something like, you know, please complete this week's assignment. And here in the assignment, I can put in a little bit more. Your assignment is due on Friday, which is today. And I can create an announcement for them, for my students. And I have a little bit of control over my start date, my end date for the announcement. We've seen this in Blackboard. So and I can attach things right here. And this is where it gets a little fun. Um, in this announcement, I can record this. I can add a file. I can record some audio. What that does is it launches my webcam and my microphone. For the just for the audio, I could record a quick audio, or I could record a quick video. We're going to see this throughout Brightspace. This is functionality that we see in creating all different kinds of content. Another thing that we'll see in Brightspace is I can set up something called release conditions. And I don't have time to get into it today with you, but what these release conditions are, and we'll have workshops on this in the future. But I can essentially set up some prerequisites for students to even see this announcement. Now, this is an announcement. I can do this with quizzes. I can do this with all different things in Brightspace. In other words, set it up so that students have to maybe get a 75 on a quiz or higher in order to progress to the next unit. Those kinds of things are called release conditions in Brightspace. And so I have the ability to set that up as well. For now, I'm just going to publish this announcement and continue the tour of the home page. And so what it does is it brings me to all of my announcements. And here's the one I just created. Shows the start date. And when I go back to the course homepage, and that's what I'm doing, I'm giving you a little tour of the course home. I just want to show you that now it's been updated. Now I have an announcement here. And again, this is visible to students. So in a fully online course, we would usually create 2 or 3 announcements a week to show our attentiveness to the course and try to maintain a continuum of communication with the class. Over here, next to the announcements link is what we call the content link. And the content link, the content view of the course is really the main view that students will interact with. And so I clicked on content here, and it goes into the last module that I was, last unit that I was working in. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the table of contents to show you everything in here. Now I only have one folder of information that's called course information. So I only have one folder in my content view and in my course. In Brightspace, they call folders modules. Okay, so a very, the most common design for an online course is usually a series of folders, and this is where you customize the design of your course. But usually we have folders, and within those folders, things we need students to read and do. So as an example here, I have a course information folder. This would, in a fully online course, this would be my syllabus broken down into little bits. It more or less a chapterized syllabus, so that students could read through the different, sort of expectations I have of them in this course. We're going to create more modules. Sometimes modules follow chapter titles. Sometimes modules are chronological. They go week to week. So it really depends on how you want to design your experience. For some face-to-face instructors that just use the learning management system as a supplement to the course, sometimes those folders, you'll have a folder for assignments, maybe a folder for exams. So in any case, the overarching nugget here is that um, folders in Brightspace are called modules. And when I go back to the home page, I just want to show you the one folder I have there is course information, and that is represented here as a tile. And in the module, in the content view, again, this is the view that students, once they enter into your course, this is the view that they're going to be working in for the most part. It is represented by this sort of bar across, and if I unfold it, I can see, if I scroll down just a little bit, I have 2 items in here already. So again, folders in Brightspace are called modules, and we're going to add some modules in a little bit, but for now I'm going to continue my my tour of the home page just so we stay on track and I don't get too lost in it all. So I clicked on course home again, and that brought me back to this home page for my course. Okay, so just moving along, uh, next to content, we have course activities. These are the gradable activities that we're going to get into this afternoon. I'm going to show you how to set up discussions, assignments, and quizzes. These this course tools button, and again, this may be a little bit different on the FIT interface. If you guys clicked on the link in the chat and are checking out the FIT interface, just all of the tools are they might be a little bit different here in the represented differently in the mini navigation bar. However, they're all available, and they once we get into each one, they're all exactly the same in terms of what they look like for me and what they're going to look like for you. It's just this mini navigation bar might be laid out a little differently. So under some of these course tools, what I am going to direct you to, you can see that we can do attendance, we can set up awards in Brightspace. There's a very transparent calendar function in Brightspace if we want to use a calendar of activities for our students. We can set up checklists for students in Brightspace. But the one that I really want to direct your attention to, and again, if you're clicking along on the FIT Brightspace, is the course admin, and this is going to be fairly consistent for all campuses. And if you did click on it, by default, it's usually set up by category. I like to set it up by name. And the reason why I'm bringing you into this link is because this is the one page of all the tools in Brightspace in a course. So it's a very handy page. And again, it's probably called course admin or course administration. And if I sort it by name, I have an easier time navigating all of the different tools. And so this is everything and the kitchen sink that you can do in Brightspace. So if you ever get lost and say, where was that thing that I wanted to get to, all those tools are right here inside of a course. So I can go right to assignments. If I build an attendance register in my course, I can go right to that. In class progress, this is, I'll show you what this does in another course where I have a little bit of student activity. But the visualizations in Brightspace, let's see what it looks like if I click on it with there's nothing to see. Again, I'm going to go back to course admin. I'll show you what the class progress looks like. Lots of very detailed nuanced information in the class progress view of when students log in, how many times they've logged in, the pages that they've looked at, the 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 when and how and what they submitted. Everything is very sort of well represented in the class progress view. Um, and again, this is the course administration link. It's under somewhere under course tools probably for you. Um, and I highly recommend, just remembering that on this course admin page, these are all the tools in Brightspace that I can have access to from one single page. Next to that is the grades. And if your course shell is empty, um, there's not going to be much to see here, but I have a course that has some student work in it, and I'll be showing you what that's about. With the grade book, I know we have some grade book. Yeah, we have a grade book training on. This is a Google page that I just clicked on. Just want to remind everybody of. There's a workshop on the 23rd where we're going to be doing gradebook setup, and there's another one on the 28th where we're going to be doing gradebook setup. So if you want to attend those, of course, I'd love to see you. Actually, I'm going to share this link, if that's okay with you, Tammy.
Of course, yeah.
I'm
And I
showing it
did
to.
send this to all faculty.
Yeah, okay. This is just, in a Google Doc
Great.
here. Okay. And then we have the class progress, which I talked about a little bit, and my roster. So here inside a course, I clicked on the course home button again over here on the left-hand side. Whenever I get lost, I can click on the course home button and I'm back to the home page. So let me show you a few things on this home page, just so you know what it means. The D2L visual table of contents, that's TOC. So this is the visual table of contents. In a second, I'll go into another course and I'll show you a course that's filled up, and just give you a sneak peek of what it looks like when a course is actually filled up. This one has one module. Again, a module is a folder. But in a fully developed online course, there would probably be, 5, 6, 7 modules. And I'll give you a look at a fully developed course in a second.
Just so
Oh,
everyone knows, we did take D2L out of a lot of the titles. So for the
good.
FIT instance, you'll just see table of contents. We
Oh,
took out the
wonderful.
visual too for that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It was a little confusing.
Yeah, because students gonna be like, well, what's D2L? And they don't even
Exactly.
need to know.
Right.
That's great. And over here we have the announcements. Again, these are things that I'll, in a fully online course, I'll be updating pretty regularly. Over here is the calendar. And so it's click on the first chevron. This sort of unfolds it all. We'll show students if there's anything due on a particular day. There'll be a red dot next to any particular day, and then there is also a view for upcoming. So what's coming up, like this week, next week. And so very handy view. Again, I'll show you a fully mature course in a second. The activity feed here is really handy for those of you who have used announcements in Blackboard. I like to call this Announcements Plus, because I can create a post here. This is more like a dynamic bulletin board where students can comment on any announcement I put in. But also here I can direct students to make sure that you read this unit's content or something like that. But here in the activity feed, I can actually link right to a piece of content inside my course. Really like this in Brightspace. We'll see this. They call them quick links. And so I'm just going to do it to demonstrate here. I know I don't have that much going on in this course, so but I know in this course information folder I have something. So like if I want to link them right to it, I can just find it inside here. And again, it's going to be a quick link. And so if I post it, what's nice is that if a student clicks on this link and has something to say about it, he or she can write a comment and it can start a thread. So that's what I mean by announcements plus, because students have the ability to comment on any of the announcements I put in the activity feed. They can also post in the activity feed. So it does serve as, sort of like a bulletin board type of feature here in Brightspace. So again, I'm on the home page and I scroll down a little bit and yeah. So just so you know, all of these things on the home page, the table of contents, the announcements, the activity feed, they're called widgets. That's what Brightspace calls them. So if you see that word widget, that's what Brightspace is referring to. Let me show you just quickly a training course that I use, and this one is a little more filled in. I want to show you some what I've just been talking about, just so you see. So here, this is this is content migrated over from Blackboard. Reworked it just a little bit, not much though. And just want to show you, what it looks like for students here. Here I have several units. Again, in Brightspace, they're called modules. So I have a start here unit, an icebreaker activities, and then my design is my chapter titles for my French course. That's what I teach. I teach French. So that's just how I mapped out the course. All of my units are represented by the chapter headings. Makes it easier for students to navigate through the course. And as you can see, I put in a different picture for each unit. And inside each unit, there is information. Let me just show you how some of these things work here. I'll stay with my unit 2 here, Une Nouvelle Aventure. If I click on this little information button, the tile flips. Okay, so I'll show you how to set that up. And as you can see, I put in a customized picture just for this chapter. I'll show you how to do that as well. One thing really like about Brightspace is it helps students track their own progress. So as an example right here, this information right here, this is how far I've gotten in this module. I've done 30% of this module. I've done 7 out of 23 topics. Now this will be customized for each student. So so this is what I've done here. But the status bars will be visible for each student as to where he or she is in this unit. And this little fast forward button brings me right to the next document that I need to look at in this module. So in this unit. So right here, I'm on unit 2. And again, the information button flips the module, but this little fast forward button brings me right to the next. So the next thing that I have to do in this module is a discussion. And I have to participate in this. Excuse me. So Brightspace does a fairly good job. I'm just going to hit my back button on the browser just to get back to where I was. And again, I was in unit 2, and you may have seen when I clicked on that, it brought me right into the content view. That view, that very white background, and all of my. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to click on Une Nouvelle Aventure, and what this does is it brings me into, this is the content view, and I'm inside of the folder of my second unit. And if I scroll down a little bit, just want to show you what it looks like when you're inside a folder. This is how your content is represented, and inside of each module in Brightspace. So here, my first document is what's due when. I get them right into the lessons, and they would essentially go down and do each one. Now, every time they read something or they complete a task, sometimes the task is just reading. The student will get a check mark next to each one to remind them that they've already looked at this piece of content. And as you can see, so I guess as an instructor, I'm just checked off on everything here. But I'm scrolling down now. I'm scrolling back up and just showing you, what each piece of content looks like inside of a module. Again, a module is a folder in Brightspace. And so like here is my instructions for the discussion. And so so now they're inside of this so like you might be lost right now because I've been clicking and clicking and clicking. So where am I? So what I want to draw your attention to is what's called the breadcrumb trail. And again, for those of you familiar with Blackboard, we use this. This existed in Blackboard, and it's right here in the top line. What it does is it tells me where I am. Okay, I'm in a document called instructions for discussion. But what the breadcrumb trail tells me is that that's in module 2 and that's in the table of contents. Okay, so essentially if I get lost in Brightspace, I can always click my course home button. That'll bring me back to the home page. But here I'm inside of a document, and from the breadcrumb trail, I know that this document is inside of unit 2, and that's inside the table of contents in this content view. So I'm going to click back on the unit 2 here just to show you a few things that you may want to be aware of here. First of all, when I look at a module, we see some of this information. I mentioned the check mark. That monitors my progress, tells me that I've already read this. But I do want to show you here, for many documents, there is an accessibility score. And if I click on that, I see that, oh, okay, I can improve the accessibility of this document. It's already pretty good, but for students that use screen readers or something like that, there's still just one issue, it looks like here. And what it's asking is the HTML file does not have a language set. So on most of these alerts here, and again, this is the accessibility score, on many of these alerts, it will give me guidance as to how to improve it. I think I'm just going to go into another module and show you relatively quickly. If I click on the table of contents over here, the Start Here module will have a few pieces, I think. So I think the language set is going to be what most of my documents want. But an accessibility score of 96% is fairly good. This one says guidance not yet available, but if I upload a PowerPoint, if I upload an image, if I upload a video or something like that, a lot of times I will get some real good advice as to how to improve the accessibility. And then one of the last things, again, we're inside a folder. We're inside the Start Here folder. The last thing I want to show you on this right-hand side is this wonderful feature in Brightspace. For many documents, it will offer up alternative formats. for students to access this particular document. And so when I click on that, um, these are really handy. I've done these. I've downloaded a few of these before. Essentially, these are alternative formats for this document. So there's an EPUB format, and there's a description for each one. EPUB is for reading as an ebook. There's an electronic braille version. There's an audio version of this document. Brightspace will download this document and read it to me. Which for some students could be a real lifesaver here. There's a Beeline reader, that's type of screen reader. There's also something called an immersive reader. And for all of these formats, there's a download button. And so essentially what it will do for students, these are available to students. By the way, these accessibility scores are not visible to students. They're only visible to me, the instructor. But these alternative formats can be extremely helpful for any students that might need them. So that's what we're looking at here. And one last thing in this interface here, and again, just want to remind you, I'm inside of a folder, the Start Here folder. This is the very first folder in my course here. If I click on just any one here, so here's a contact me. Just a few things. I can go full screen. I know lots of you are familiar with this this icon here called the full screen toggle, but I also have a next and previous button. And from a design standpoint, I really like the next and previous button because, for instance, if I give students instructions for an assignment and I don't want to put it right on the assignment, I want to put it beforehand. I want to sort of, give them some guidelines in regard to my expectations. I can set that up on a document before the actual assignment, and then I can instruct them to click the next button, next document button. And so students can use these buttons to navigate inside of a unit or inside of a folder. So these are very handy for students to use, and again, from a design standpoint, you can instruct them to go to the next go to the next document. And because of these buttons, they'll more or less instinctively know to click on the arrow above. So let me just click back to the course, to my course home, and I'm going to get back into our training course. So here I'm in French 101, and I just wanted to show you some of the what a course looks like when it's all filled out, because we're working for the most part inside of an empty shell. I did promise you I'd show you just quickly just the class progress button here, because in the training shell that we're using, there's no student activity. Now here I have some fake student activity. These are students that were set up for me here. And so I just want to give you a view. One little bit of anxiety is about using a new learning management system is once students come in, am I going to see everything? As I mentioned before, you are. And in this class progress view, and that's what I clicked on up here, class progress, I can see, like, for instance, last date of attendance, very easy to look at here. I can see it at a single glance as to when this student came in. When I click on it, I can get very granular in terms of when this particular student, Jane's student, came in and participated in my course. I can even drill down into the assignments that she's handed in. And so this gives me just a real great view of each and every student's progress in my course. And again, here's the breadcrumb trail up top. So it tells me where I am, because as we click into Brightspace on some of these things, we can get a little lost. So I just want to keep drawing your attention to this breadcrumb trail here. And that's what it's called. It's not just an affectionate name I have for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you'll notice I'm in my training course here. I'm going to click back into the FIT course that I was in before, because this is going to look more like what you're dealing with. And again, in this FIT course here, I have just one unit or one folder. And again, in Brightspace, one module. I'm going to keep using that word module because that's what Brightspace calls it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a module, and then we're going to create some content inside of that module. So before I do that, I want to know if there are any questions, because I ran through the course homepage and all of the menu items therein, and I imagine there might be a question or two. So any questions?
Quiet group today.
That's fine. That's fine. The Zoom stuff
Rob?
is, yeah, Jeff.
How you doing, my friend?
All right. How are you?
Okay. I came in late, I admit it.
I saw you. I admitted you.
I appreciate that. I'm still wearing my beret, as you could tell. I just ran in the door.
Lovely.
You talked about class progress, but did you talk about class activities yet? Did I miss that?
What I did talk about, Jeffrey, is the quick eval button.
Yeah, good. I really wanted them to see that, because I think that's so valuable, especially for people teaching multiple courses, right?
Agreed. And that's just to remind everybody what I'm talking about. I'm clicking on the campus branding link up top, and what that brings me back to the campus homepage. And what Jeffrey is asking about is this quick eval button. And because there are several ways to get to grading, and what we're trying to do is just condition everybody to use the quick eval button. And the quick eval button, as a reminder, it aggregates all of the grading right in front of you that's needed in your course. You don't have to go into the assignments and start looking for who did what. This aggregates it for you. And when we're actually in a course, let me go back into I'm going to go back into this course. Sometimes you may have to fish for the quick eval button. I'm encouraging campuses to put it right on the mini navigation bar as its own menu item. But here at the CPD, they kind of buried it on me, and I wish they hadn't. But here I'm inside a course. Just as a reminder, this French 101 is a course I use for training. And here is the quick eval link here. And it really is the one and only way I recommend you get to your grading, because again, its one and only function is to aggregate all of the grading that awaits the instructors. So this is I think the most efficient way to get to the grading.
Can I just add that if your grade center is not set to mark ungraded items as 0, it's only going to show you the work that was submitted, not what's missing.
Right.
That's important, because that a lot of people, not only at FIT but around the LMS world, tend to forget to put zeros in when students don't submit work.
Yeah, I go through that again. I'm just gonna remind everybody on Thursday the 23rd that's going to be part of my gradebook setup and how to grade in Brightspace. So for those of you that are going to be doing grading in Brightspace, I highly recommend you check out either the workshop on the 23rd or on the 28th of this month. Because I do use this course, and I show you how to grade student work and how to track it. Yeah. Okay. So again,
Rob, sorry, it's Tammy.
No, go right ahead.
Someone was just asking, and it's a good point. We do use folders for the most part in terms of our language in Blackboard.
Okay.
Now that's switching over to modules, and I think we have to, rather than insist on using folders, we're going to have to get used to that module language because we're working with the SUNY help desk, and they're going to be using the word modules, right? And it's sort of like the point of view of Brightspace that they're called modules. So I know
Yeah.
it's a little confusing, but I think we could probably use folders and modules interchangeably a little bit. Like, I think the help desk will understand what we're saying, right? When we're
Yeah.
asking a question about folders. Do you think that's right? Or am I presuming too much?
The students are going to see the word modules though.
Yeah.
So we should just,
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shift.
Okay.
it's really, it's the taxonomy is so different from, by the way, in Canvas, they don't call them folders either. They call them modules.
Right. I mean, we've sort of got used to the word units to represent the overall learning module that is, 1 to 2 weeks and has all the content in there. So I guess, do you recommend keeping that word units in terms of a pedagogical function, and then modules as more of how we use folders, I guess?
So, I like the word unit. I really
Mhm.
do. And whenever I train at FIT, that's part of my conditioning is to use the word unit instead of
Yeah, right.
module. But my only concern, since we're talking about it, would be that any students that have taken online courses elsewhere might be more familiar with the term module.
Right.
And so, but I don't know how well founded that concern is in terms of FIT students. I don't know how many
Okay.
have taken courses elsewhere.
But that makes sense. So you're saying it from the Brightspace point of view, module is not just a folder that's a function, it is representing the larger pedagogical unit.
Yeah,
Okay.
but let me be clear, for those who, that is for instructors who teach fully asynchronous online
That's
courses.
right. Yeah.
For the instructor who is just using, using Brightspace to store content and maybe have students do assignments, then we get into, well, it's just easier to understand that these modules are really just folders where we put stuff, because they might want to
Yeah.
organize their courses as assignments
Of course.
and discussions and that kind of thing.
Great point. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yours is too, because I do understand. I like the word unit. I really do,
Mhm.
because that's what a lot of textbooks do.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so it's, in terms of our conditioning, we're kind of used to a unit representing, a whole topic of information that's going to span, usually in online courses, 2 weeks, 10 to 15 days.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So there was a question. Yeah, David. Yeah, do allow are there submodules? So can we have folders inside of folders? Not my favorite design, but I'm going to click on this folder right here to answer your question. And the question is yes, David. We have these things. Once we create a module, we're always able to create what's called a submodule. And again, the submodule will be a folder inside of this module, will be a submodule. And so, yes, we can nest our content the way we want. I usually shy away from that type of design only because on a broad scale, it could be confusing to students to have to click into a folder and then click into another folder and then, perhaps get lost. And so what in general, the type of design that that I recommend is one click away, to have everything one click away as much as that's possible. Just try, because in the online world, 3 clicks away is much further is very far away for students as compared to just one click away. But again, yeah, I agree with you, David. And yeah, that's what we're talking about. And yeah, I see lessons within units. Yeah, see, that's more sort of instructional. I'm reading David's submission in the chat, just so everyone knows. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with the units, and just knowing that from a technical standpoint, again, units, modules, and folders are sort of synonymous. Okay, from what I'm teaching you today. Conceptually, of course, they're not. But in terms of what I'm teaching today, Brightspace functionality, the units will be folders of activity, and those folders in Brightspace are called modules. So, okay. Okay, let me get back to the course homepage. And if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to just take like a 3-minute bio break, because I need to
Sure.
run, and I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
If anybody has any questions for me at this time, I'm happy to answer. David, I was just writing to you because I do think we should carve out a best practice for online courses where we can still use the word units and talk about them at curriculum, for example. And I think we'll figure that out for online.
I was going to say, it's going to be confusing
to
me, at least, if a module means 3 different things simultaneously.
Right.
Like if the module is like the 2-week unit, and it's a lecture on Italian Renaissance sculpture, and it's a, so I think being able to still use units in the sense where, like, my online class has 9 units through the entire semester. But for example, in my Blackboard course, like, let's say like unit 4, just as an example, is like on Italian Renaissance art. And within that unit, there's a folder that's on Italian Renaissance sculpture. And there's a folder that has lesson material on Italian Renaissance painting. If each one of those things is called a module, then if I'm like, talking to the help desk or talking to you, or even giving the students instructions, it's hard to understand conceptually, like, are you referring to like the overall lesson that lasts these 2 weeks, or are you referring to like a mini lesson within that, where there's like 5 of us within the unit? So I guess if we can, like, if there's any way to like have unit, at least for asynchronous online classes, still like mean what it's always meant, then I can understand how within a unit you might have like 3 lesson modules on, for, in my case, like architecture, sculpture, and painting or something.
Right. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I will bring this up at the Brightspace faculty advisory group, because we have those 20 courses running in the pilot. Some of them are face-to-face instructors just using Brightspace, and others are online courses. So I'll talk to them about what they've done, but I really want to try and keep that terminology if we can, just for the online courses. And then for the rest, I understand Rob's point about these face-to-face faculty and just how they might use their courses for content. But thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, I'm back. And so what we're going to do now is, now till the end, is we're going to create a module. I'm going to show, create a unit. So sorry. And I'm going to show you how to create within that. And so from this home page, again, I am going to direct your attention to the content link, and I'm on a course homepage. And in the content link is, as I mentioned before, is really where students are going to be interacting with your course content for the most part. Now, whenever we click on the content link, you'll see that, oh, this came right into the course information folder or the course information unit. And so what I'm first going to show you is to click on table of contents. If you have content that's been migrated over, this table of contents link will do a good job of condensing, the entire folder here of your course. So everything that's in your course in folders, like again, I only have one course information folder, one folder here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add a module. And again, we're in the content view, and I clicked on table of contents to condense everything down. And I already have one in here, so I'm going to add another module. And so the way I do that, there are two, once I'm in the content view, there are two ways to add a module folder unit to my course. One is here, I can click on just add a module, and the same thing will happen if I click on add a module on the left-hand side here. Some of you might see that as well. So when I click it, all it wants to know is, or maybe unit 1. And I'm going to stick with the French theme here. Usually the first thing students learn is how to identify themselves. My name is, I live where I live, that kind of thing. So, so I'm going to put that in here. And so unit 1, identifying yourself, I just typed it in. And again, all I did was click on the add a module. And when I type that in and I hit enter, it's going to create a module for me. And so at this point, I can add things into this module with this upload create button. So I'm going to back out just for a second. On the course homepage, I want to show you that now I have a new module. So here it is. And yep, what it does is it pulls in the picture from my banner. By default, that's what it does. And if I click on this module, I'm going to go in and I'm going to see, sort of like what this looks like as it's labeled, but it's essentially a blank folder. And so let's look at some of the features that we can do with our units, modules, folders here. So I put in a title, that's okay. The very first thing I could do is click on this add dates and restrictions. And for this module, I can designate a start date and an end date. And in the middle, I can put in a due date. Now, if I put in a due date, that will automatically add it to my calendar. Okay, so the due date, if I have a due date for this module, I can, and I'm going to have to, I can put due dates on almost every single piece of content in Brightspace. It will add it to my calendar. Start and end dates are essentially when this will become, the start date is when this will become visible. The end date is when this will become invisible. So a start date is when it will appear, end date is when it will disappear. So as an example, if I have a midterm exam and I don't want that link to appear, I can designate some very specific dates for that folder to open and then to close. And again, it's visibility and invisibility. So it won't even appear. And then over here on the right-hand side, by default, when I create a new module, things are visible. But if it's not going to be ready for prime time, if I just don't want my students to see it yet, I can make it invisible right here. And this will bypass any of the start and end dates that I've already put in. Now, I'm not, in my course, just so you know, my style of teaching is to leave everything open. for students for the entire semester. And I tell them on a single page all the start and end dates of each module, but I leave them all open. And the reason why I do that is because as adult students, they like to see everything, that's coming up. For adult students, one of their biggest challenges is time management. So the more I can show them in terms of what's coming up, the better. So in other words, what I should get to is that this is all optional. As to whether you want to use these start and end dates and the due dates. Okay, you don't have to. The release conditions I mentioned before, essentially prerequisites for accessing this folder. So I'm just going to unhide it for now, and I'll click the update button, even though I didn't change much. Here I can add a description for this. So if I click on add a description, this is where I can describe, at least give a little bit of an advanced organizer as to what's happening in this module. In this module, we will explore yada yada. And when I click update there, this will appear for my students. It will actually appear on the flip side of the tile. And so what I mean by that is I'm just going to jump out to the course home real quick. And again, I added a description. And once I add a description, this little information button appears. And that's where students will see whatever I've, put in there for them. So I'm going to click back on the link and get back in. And then I want to show you how to put things into this folder. So we will use the upload create button. And so I am now going to add some content. When I click this button, I see some choices here. One thing that Brightspace is very sort of friendly toward is importing external content, is pulling in external content into my online course and putting it in line for students to access. So the very first choice here is upload files. So here, I click upload files, and again, fairly transparent. I can upload from my computer. My course offering files are essentially a lot of files that came over from Blackboard. I have a lot of, just sort of random files, see that they're alphabetical. And then I can, I can also upload from my Google Drive. So if I have some files that, I've already created, they're already organized in my Google Drive, I might want to do that. But most likely, many of you will want to upload from your computer. So if you choose my computer, again, here there is maximum 2.7 gigabytes. Anything over that, I would recommend putting in the cloud. So if it's a video or something like that, that's really long, or there's a different way to put that in, but essentially I would put that up in YouTube and I would link my students to it. But let me just show you how to add a file here. I would click upload. So if I already have a PDF of my expectations or something like that, here, it brings up my hard drive, and here are some documents I have. I think I have a rubric as a PDF here. And if I add that, I now added a PDF to as a first document. So again, that was off of the upload create, upload files. If I do upload create and I want to add a video, you'll see again, fairly transparent. By default, it asks me for a web address, a URL. So if I want, I could go find a video. Let's see, introducing. I'm just gonna look for a video real quick. Yourself in French. Let's see if this brings any. if I find a video for that, here we go, how to introduce myself in French. If I like this video, 3 minutes. So if I like this, there's a few ways to do it. What it wants is a URL. If we remember, Brightspace is waiting for a URL. So I can copy the URL right up here. I can also use the share button. Some of you might be familiar with this. And I could just copy the link right here. But if I copy it, and I drop it into Brightspace, the reason why I don't create just a link, because some of you may have seen it, this video page does a really good job of displaying the video. As you can see, it's full screen. So again, I went to upload, create, and I chose audio or video. And here I'm putting in a video from YouTube. And what it does here, as you can see, full screen, no extraneous information. And I can add dates and restrictions right here as to what start, end, and due date. And I can also add a description here. Please watch this video, something like that. And that will render like this. And I'm going to use the breadcrumb trail to get back to the folder view, the module view. And now what I have here is I uploaded a document, a PDF, and I also use the upload create to pull in a video. Okay. And again, David, just to, remind you, I could add another, like if I had a lot of videos and I wanted to add like a video folder inside of this module, I could add a sub module and put everything in that one folder. So again, using this upload create button, I just want to show you, again, Brightspace is very friendly to using external resources. So if I just want to create a link to a resource, and I think I have a few here. So like, so let's like if I want to link to Le Monde, which is essentially the New York Times of France, maybe call it current affairs. I already had this link in here, but I could go out and search for it. But any link I could just put right in here. I did upload, create a link. And if I create that, it brings me to the link page. And what's nice is that by default, Brightspace opens these things in a new window. And so if I click on open a new window, which is really the only thing I can do, it opens up the link here, and my Brightspace course stays open. So really like this feature here in Brightspace, where if I put a link into my course, it makes it so that it opens it in a new tab and students still remain inside my course. Okay. So being asked to show everyone, I'm just responding to the chat here. Let me make sure that. Okay. So from Stan, show how the student will download my PDF. See, I don't think they're going to have to download. So Stan, I'm going to do that right now, just to, and I will show everybody. I'm in a course right now, right? So I'm in a course and I'm creating my first unit here inside this, again, module or folder. And what I now have the ability to do inside of a course is use something called the student view. So Stan asked me in the chat, and if you ask me a question in the chat, don't direct message me, just send it out for everybody. This gives me opportunity to show you the student view in Brightspace, which is going to be very handy. In Blackboard, it was a little eyeball on the top of the screen. Here is the student view. It's underneath my name. It tells me, and again, I clicked on this, and now I chose the student view. It tells me that I'm watching it as a student. So Stan, this is how it would behave in terms of looking at a PDF. So here's the PDF that I put up as the instructor. Again, I'm looking at this as a student. So if I click on this PDF, what it does is it has something called an inline, well, when we edit, it's an inline editor, but it displays PDFs right on the page. They don't have to download. Okay. So again, I am in the student view. So so Brightspace displays these PDFs without the need to download. In order to get out of the student view, I click on my name again up here. And again, it reminds me that I'm as a CPD student. If I just X out of this, I am back in as the instructor. And it defaults to the course
Excuse the
homepage.
interruption, Rob. Stan again.
Yeah, Stan.
When I load PDFs into the course, it is a learning module for them to have and to save throughout their professional careers.
I
So
see.
they do appreciate the ability to download it and save it. Can that
Right.
be?
Okay, Stan, well, first of all, I'm not sure how, so you put in a whole folder of PDFs.
I do.
Correct?
I'll create a folder and there'll be several PDFs, and they are lesson plans on how to use the software, which is demonstrated in class, and it serves as backup for the rest of their professional lives.
Of course, no, I totally understand. So what I'm thinking about is if you put in a whole folder, you can either upload them one at a time here, but you want them to keep the folder.
That's correct, Rob.
Yeah, yeah. So what I would recommend here, and so I have a Google Drive myself. What I think I would recommend here is creating a link to my Google Drive. Now, one thing is that redundancy in an online course is actually an attribute. If here's what I'm thinking, Stan, is that you know, just to give you a peek, this is my Google Drive. Yours will probably look pretty similar. I have folders in here, and I think what I would do, Stan, is if I wanted them to access this and then download all of those files from here, or have constant access to the actual folder, I would do something like this. I would have everything in a folder on my Google Drive. I would get the link to my Google Drive. And I think what I would do here in Brightspace is I would create a link, and I would call this, you know, folder of downloadable documents or something like this. Because and this is why I'm saying it, Stan, is because Brightspace will render PDFs inside of Brightspace. So pulling it down as a downloadable folder would be kind of tough. So I think if I do this, again, what I did was I created a link to my Google Drive. I'm just going to click back on the breadcrumb trail. And I think if they click this, you know, they'll get all of the PDFs right here. Would that be helpful, Stan?
Thank you, Rob. Very clever. Thank you.
Okay. All right. But you know, as I look at it too, I think they'll be able to download. I think a student can download from any page. Now that I think about it, is there a download? No, maybe I'm incorrect there. Sorry. Right.
I thought we just saw a download button if you scroll down.
That's what that's what I'm looking for now. So this is a PDF that they're on. But I think the way I just described is probably better. You're leveraging Google, better than Brightspace, which Brightspace wants to render everything. And Google is more of a content storage. Okay, easiest way to upload a specific banner image for a module. Now, I'm going to need some help from either Jeffrey or Tammy. And are your instructors able to change their banners?
No, so I'm sorry, their images, yes.
The images.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right, for the course,
All right,
yes.
cool. So this is a question about this banner image. As you can see, I put the Brooklyn Bridge on here. This was actually a choice of mine. But when I run my cursor over this banner image, okay, I'm able to change the image. And so I can do that. Okay, but Irina is asking for a specific module. Okay, so let me get into it. Okay, before I get into the last thing that I want you to be able to create here. In this description right here, we are able to upload an image as well. And so I have not yet gone through all the tools here up here, but there is an insert image tool. And again, let me just remind you of where we are. If I go into any module and I go into this little description, if you remember, this description appears on the flip side of the tile. Well, in this same place, if I add an image right here, this is going to be the image that is going to appear on the front of the tile. Now, if I have an image that I own in my computer, I can certainly use that. But I'm going to use a URL, and I'm going to show you how to pull in an image and not compromise the copyright for pulling in an image off of the web. Because let's remember, if you change the location of an image, you run the risk of violating copyright if you change the location of an image without permission. Okay, so we can't just go all over the internet and download images and then upload them into Brightspace. But there is a way to use those images legally. And let me show you how to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for something called French introduction. And I'm going to look for images. So so again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find an image that's going to work for this, and I'm just going to choose this one. Now, I just want to show you in our module tiles here. I'm backing out to show you something here. In our module tiles here, it is only going to take the top of the image, like you can see right here for the Brooklyn Bridge image. There's a little more to it than what's appearing here. Essentially what it does is it just takes the top of the image. And so the best I could do is show you. And so it might take a little bit of searching. So again, here I am. I click on the description. I make sure my cursor is just below the description. I find an image. And this is where, if you're writing stuff down, oh, look at that. Bonjour is misspelled here. I'm not too crazy about that. But if I right click on the image and I copy the image address. Now, this takes a little bit of technical explanation here. Every single image that's on the web has its own unique address. It's actually just, it's loaded up into a folder of different things, but it has its own page address. So if I copy this image address, I'm not copying the link address, the image address. And again, I click the insert image here and I click URL and I paste in the URL. First thing it's going to ask me is about alternative text. If students using a screen reader run their cursor over this, does it have any meaning for them? I'm just going to call this decorative at the moment because it really doesn't have any value other than that. And so what happens is I click the full screen just so we can see it. It pulls in this image right here. I am able to resize, so I can grab, but essentially what it's creating is a little window called an iframe, and it is pulling this image from its original address, and it is not changing the location of this image. It is simply creating a little window, and in that window, there's some HTML code in here saying display whatever's on this page. And on this page that's the image address. So if I pull that in and I make it a little smaller, it doesn't matter how small you make it in terms of it rendering on the tile, and I clicked out of my full screen view and I clicked update. Okay, and as you can see, I centered it too. When I click back to my course homepage, it renders on the tile. Now you're going to see only the top of it renders. So this will take a little getting used to. You might have to find an image where the top of the image is really, what you want, because that's all that's going to render on this tile. So Irina, that answer your question? Again, I clicked on this description here.
Yes, I got it all. Thank you very much.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
very clear.
You're a quick study, Irina.
It's a very exciting lecture, I must say.
Okay. So again, where I put my description for the module, I chose the insert image button and I put that in here and I clicked update.
Great for visual students, yes, for the design department.
And just like anything else, I understand that I'm demonstrating things here for you. So, I encourage you to just try these things out. It'll take a little while. The best way to learn this stuff is to just try it out, click on the links, make a few mistakes, come back, see where you went wrong, and practice a little bit. Last thing I'm going to show you this morning is off of the upload create button. Again, we put in some content here. Off of the upload create button, we have this create a file. Now, we've been talking about Brightspace terminology here. In Brightspace, creating a file is creating a page. What we're used to in Blackboard was creating a page. So here, in creating a file, this is where I can just put in a title, or let me call it a unit overview. And here inside the blank page, I can start talking about in this module, we're going, to cover, sorry about the text here is real small. So I'm going to make this text bigger. I'm going to use this font tool just so we can see. And I know we're running out of time for this morning. So what I am going to show you, because I'm sure many of you are familiar with all these tools here, there's this cool insert stuff button right here. And this is where I can insert all kinds of cool things into my page. I can put in a video note. And again, these video notes are real handy. They're very low production. They're one button and you just click on new recording, and you could start recording yourself. If you don't like it, you can throw it away and do a new one. They work really well, but again, this insert stuff button, I'm just going to sort of hover over that more and more. I can insert things from my media library. I can insert YouTubes right from here. I can insert all different kinds of stuff. Over here are those quick links. I can insert a link to anything inside of my Brightspace course that I've already created. So it gives me essentially a way to navigate to any particular document, like an assignment or something like that. I can insert an image here, okay, and there's an accessibility checker, and there's lots of cool things really right here. There's an equation editor for any math or science instructors. There's a table editor. There are symbols here for anybody who teaches like a foreign language or needs any kind of symbols. There's a symbol library inside of Brightspace. So that's good to go. So I'm just going to close this real quickly and drop this into my module. So it shows me the document. That's where it always brings me to when I finish doing it. But essentially, I've put these 5 things in my module. Now, if I want to move any of these, like the unit overview, well, that should be the first document. Just like in Blackboard, when I run my cursor over the very left-hand side, I can drag things up and reorder things here in my module. So if I want to just move things around, I can click and drag. Now, I know I'm almost out of time, but the very last thing I want to show you, and I apologize for speeding things up here, is off of this upload create button. We just did create a file. And I'm just going to show you that one of your selections here is these document templates. So the one that I created, I did unit overview and put in a little bit of text, but these document templates are very easy to use in Brightspace, and they're very handy. So I chose the module introduction template. And what it does is it centers everything. So these are very 508 compliant. And what that means is that they're ready for cell phones and iPads and everything. And so it centers everything. And in these templates, they give you instructions as to how to use them. So and it's made for you to just to select everything and just copy paste right over it. And so let me just show you, a few of what these templates look like. And so I'm going to just do this real quick. I'm in another course, but I use some templates in my course information folder here. And so this is called the intro template. And what it does is it just drops all the text inside of a larger picture. This one's called the Meet Your Facilitator template. Come on. And so again, this is just a templated document where I dropped in the information. This one's called, I think, the module overview. Yeah, the overview template. So I can change this picture here. They give me some stock pictures, but I just dropped copy pasted text right in. It also took a picture that I had, just copy pasted right in. And again, these are called document templates. And this one is called the accordion template. And this one's real slick. I put in a few pictures here, but what this does is it creates this little accordion feature for me. And so I encourage you to explore these templates because they're very clean and they render really well on all different kinds of devices. So again, let me just back up a little bit. And so this is when we go to create a file that we see these document templates. Okay, I know I'm out of time, and I appreciate everybody hanging with me right to the end. We're going to restart at 1 o'clock for those of you who are available, and we're going to do a workshop on gradable activities. So essentially, we're going to continue on in this unit, and I'm going to show you the discussions, the assignments, and the quizzes in Brightspace.